So ever since the release of Star Wars Episode 7, which up until this point I think most of you will have seen, in case you haven't, let me give you an obvious spoiler warning, but Episode 7 along with it brought a whole slew of theories, conspiracies, and various other things. Now obviously Star Wars is prone to do this, and specifically having Disney and J.J. Abrams behind it, it's really no wonder that everybody has a theory about something. Now before we get into this, let me just make a few things clear first. Number 1, this is quite an interesting theory. Number 2, while I do believe in my share of conspiracy theories, I'm no Alex Jones. And number 3, aliens are out there. Probably. Or are we the descendants of lizard people? Either or. Anyways, now that the basics are out of the way, let's talk about this theory that has absolutely taken over the internet. That is that Mace Windu is in fact Snoke. Yep, I know, let's just get right into this. So the first question is probably going to be, well, where did this start? And the source of this is not George Lucas, but instead Samuel L. Jackson himself, who in a Twitter Q&A said that he believes that his character Mace Windu is still alive in the Star Wars universe. And then this was also verified by George Lucas, who said yeah, he could probably still be alive out there. Now in this video, he surprised some evidence by saying first off, the Jedi can fall high distances and not get hurt. So let's get into the first part of this, which is that Mace Windu did not in fact die after his confrontation with Anakin and the Emperor. So first off, and the most obvious, is during the fight he loses his arm. Now this being Star Wars, we have seen this quite a few times, and all those people that have lost their hand or arm go on to live pretty happy lives. Okay, not really, but you get what I'm saying, they still live. Now next up, after he gets his arm cut off, he gets hit with Force lightning, which we've seen plenty of times in Star Wars that getting hit by lightning doesn't mean you're going to die. Even after he gets electrocuted and thrown out the window, we can still hear him screaming. And we know for a fact Force lightning won't kill you because Luke Skywalker took quite a handful of it, and so did Anakin Skywalker, along with other characters such as Yoda. And another great point being is when Mace Windu actually deflects the lightning back onto the Emperor himself, it does not actually kill him. All it does is disfigure him and give him pale skin. And then of course what he said about being thrown out the window and surviving is pretty valid, considering we've seen Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back fall down a long shaft and survive. We've seen other Jedi such as Obi-Wan actually take a huge fall, whether it's onto some beams or into water, and we've even seen Anakin Skywalker take a huge dive and land on a speeder, and he was 100% fine. And it's also worth noting that Anakin's fall in Episode 2 is also on Coruscant, which is the same city, so it's feasible to believe that Mace Windu could have survived that fall as well. So next up, this theory talks about Snoke and specifically his disfigurement, because let's be honest, he's a pretty nasty, ugly looking dude. Now when you really think about it, you're probably going, well, how could this actually happen? But then again, there is more evidence to suggest this. For starters, just like Emperor Palpatine, Mace Windu was electrocuted, and he was electrocuted quite a bit, which we have seen turns any complexion into this pale looking white, whatever the hell it is, scary looking drapey draggy face. So this theory states that this same thing happened to Mace Windu. He was badly electrocuted, he got all of these scars, and then being thrown out the window pretty much cemented him as quote unquote dead, but he did not die. He learned to live with this and would start taking revenge. And this theory is further supported by the fact that he actually says, I watched the Galactic Empire rise and fall. So we know that Snoke is a character that's been around for both of the trilogies so far, and he's going to be part of the third one. Now regarding Snoke actually having the arm, it's not that far-fetched to believe that he would go out there and actually get himself a replacement one. I mean, everybody else did it, so why not? Now the next thing that this theory is going to point out is the fact that Mace Windu is the only Jedi that is currently in canon and not part of the expanded universe, which Disney has not made canon, is the only one who has the purple lightsaber. And as this theory suggests is that if you mix red and blue, you get purple, so therefore he is balancing the Force, but he is a Jedi who tends to lean more towards the dark side of the Force. And as this theory suggests, Mace Windu is one of the only Jedi to use Vapad. And that is highlighted as a state of mind instead of just a fighting style, and it allows the wielder to channel his own inner darkness into the duel. So the suggestion here is that Mace Windu is using the dark side of the Force during the times he uses a lightsaber, but he has to balance it right as to fully not give in to the dark side. And then this theory is going to point out that Snoke is actually actively obsessed with the dark side and the light, as it is stated in the trailer, but also in the novelized version of the film. When talking to Kylo Ren, Snoke says, "It is far more than that. It is what you are from, what you are made of, the dark side and the light." And the theory suggests that that is why he is after Kylo Ren, because he sees himself in Kylo, a person who can balance the good side of the Force and the bad. Now the next part of this theory involves his full transformation over into the dark side and becoming some sort of Sith Master. And why would he do this? They suggest that it is due to the fact that he was betrayed by Anakin. This would give Snoke, aka Windu, a personal vendetta against the Skywalker family. And the theory suggests that this is why he wants Kylo Ren to be able to seek out Luke Skywalker so he can have his own flesh and blood kill off the rest of the remaining Skywalker bloodline. Now there is also another theory that ties into this, and that is the one that Mace Windu believes that he was the chosen one, because he is the one that is balancing the light side and the dark side of the Force, and that is why he tries so hard not to have Anakin train in the ways of the Force. And even when he's allowed to train as a Jedi, why he does not allow him to get the rank of Master. And since he is the one that believes he is the one to bring balance to the Force by learning a technique like Vapad and being the one that was about to kill the last of the Sith with Emperor Palpatine, he might still believe that he is the chosen one. And the theory also suggests that even Han Solo knew about this, and he knows that Snoke is going to betray Kylo once the deed is done. Now the next point in this theory goes on to talk about the fighting style and technique that Mace Windu uses, and frequently throughout the movies he's featured in, we see him do a backswing with a certain stance. He actually uses this in every fight he is in, including the fight versus Jango Fett where he decapitates him. And he goes on and uses the move multiple times while he's fighting Palpatine in the final confrontation. And as it's pointed out in this theory, Kylo Ren uses this same move and technique multiple times facing Rey in the forest. So the theory is obviously pointing to the fact that if Snoke is in fact Mace Windu, he would be passing on the same teachings he has down to his pupil, who is Kylo Ren. So that pretty much sums up this theory, and I found this on multiple websites and some sources and various other things pointing to other videos, and I really try to just break it down to the basics. Now, how do I honestly feel about this one? Well, it is a pretty insane theory, and when you think about it, there are some connective tissues and dots that he definitely lays out in a pretty good way. Now, I myself do not actually believe this theory. I think it's far too outlandish, and I think that Disney, being the way they are, as far as we've seen so far, trying to distance themselves away from the prequel. Now, tying Mace Windu so closely into everything would definitely be a huge risk, because this takes it all the way back to the prequels, and they would kind of, tie everything even more around in a more personal way, whereas to more people have been saying, why can't these characters just be new characters? Why does everything have to relate to something else previously in some sort of new way? And there are some problems in this theory. For one, they cite the blue and the red lightsaber, but they never go on to talk about the obvious one, which is the green lightsaber, which also a whole lot of Jedi carry. There's also the part of the theory that says Han Solo knew this and that's why he was trying to warn him. Well, if that was the fact, couldn't they draw all of this back all the way to the moment he turned and literally have physical proof of him trying to corrupt everybody? If they clearly know what Snoke looks like, then they could definitely connect the pieces together. So overall, it is a pretty interesting theory. I don't buy it myself, but who knows at this point. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on the Mace Windu is Snoke theory.